All right, so as you know, eNCA has a team down in Ulundi to cover the funeral of IFP leader Mangosuthu Buthelezi. He is due to be buried tomorrow morning, but of course already events are unfolding, and the focus at the moment is around the late leader's home in Kwapindangene, where we find our reporter Manqoba Mchunu. Manqoba, talk to us about what is happening there at the moment.
Well, so we're starting to see a bit of activity here outside the Kwapindangene homestead as some of the family members, the members of the Buthelezi clan are also arriving just ahead of that, important event or proceedings that are going to be taking place here today, the collecting and the fetching of the mortal remains of the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, which is expected to happen later today. We understand that Amabutho are already starting to also gather up in preparation for that particular fetching or collecting of the body from the mortuary. We heard earlier on from the Imam, of course, of the Buthelezi clan, highlighting what's going to happen. Sally, they are already Amabutho, that to understand, are making their way to the mortuary to be able to receive Umntwana Pindangene, but also there will be Amabutho stationed here outside of the gates of this particular homestead to welcome Umntwana Pindangene as he comes into the house. Amahubo of the Buthelezi clan will be sung. Of course, he was also the chief of the Abate, of the Buthelezi clan here at this particular area. But as I can tell you now, we're seeing also some supporters of the IFP, as well as some of the structures of eNCA that are also here at the homestead. Earlier on, we were told that there are also some dignitaries that have also arrived here, the likes of the Good Party leader, Patricia de Lille. We've also seen a consulate from the US Embassy here in KwaZulu-Natal also arriving this morning to pay their respects. But just to speak to one of the Amabutho that is here, I just want to ask him to introduce himself and best tell us who he is and what he's here to do today. Baba, if you can just give us your name first, where you come from. I understand you're also a prince.
Yes, Ishwaram Lachman Mabheka Zulu. It's a very sad day for all of us when we come to Kwapindangene to mourn the death of Mundwana Shenge Sogalisa. I come a long way with Mundwana and the Zulu Nation, Isilo, Samabandla and Ndlogomban. We've traveled a long way, and when it comes to Mundwana, I've been with Mundwana when he fostered good relations between Swami Sajananda and himself to build classrooms since 1971 in rural areas. And Swami Sajananda is my spiritual leader, and I ran some of these projects just to serve the communities. And that time Mundwana fostered this relationship based on a rand-for-rand basis. And Swami Sajananda eventually sponsored all these classrooms together with Mundwana. And when I go back and look at Mundwana's life, he taught me so much of Zuluness, especially when all the traditional ceremonies at the Royal Palace would in Ndlogomban. When he adopted me, Mundwana taught me a lot of the traditional hymns and the Zulu culture. And as you see, I'm dressed in proper Zulu tradition. We feel proud as Indian Zulu, as most of the people know that, I cherish my life being together with Isilo, Ndlogomban and Mundwana as the Prime Minister to the Zulu Nation, because they fostered good relations between various nations, and one such program was social cohesion and having Diwali with the Indian community. And I was fortunate to have these programs with them, and so many projects that we have done, installing the Shivananda Peace Pillars. And Mundwana has also been the honorary patron of the Shivananda World Peace Foundation. So we go a long way based on purely love for each other, and also serving the people of the rural areas. And our coming together was based on that.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. I want to get quickly through to the IFP Youth Brigade National Secretary, just to get a sense of today. Of course, today is the day that we're expecting Umntwana kaPhindangeme to be arriving here at home. Quite a somber occasion.
Well, it's quite difficult. We are finalizing the logistics now. The protocol team is meeting now to finalize all the logistics so that everything goes smoothly. But it is, very difficult because we now have to accept the reality. I mean, the day is getting closer, and we need to start accepting that he's no longer with us and he's gone. But we are going to make sure that we do everything that we can to make sure that the day goes smoothly, that he receives the send-off that is at his level. I mean, we are talking about a struggle icon here, the man that ushered us into a democratic South Africa that we are all enjoying today. And we are not going to be distracted, really, by those that have vilified him, those that have said negative things about him. Our focus will be to carry his legacy forward. Our focus will be to make sure that we preserve all the legacy and the good work that he has done for this country. And those that does not want to accept that he was a struggle icon and is a person that deserves to be celebrated, we will do it on their behalf. We are going to celebrate even on their behalf, because we really need to celebrate the legacy of His Excellency. And we believe that the commitments that the national leadership of the ANC made to say that they are going to correct the history and they are going to make sure that the reconciliation project that was started by Umntwana and Umandela will be realized. We are hoping that they are going to honor the commitment that they have made on top of the body of His Excellency now.
I just have to ask you this, in terms of the preparations, are we expecting to see supporters of the IFP also lining up on the streets, gathering as Umntwana, of course, arrives home today? What's the expectation as far as the party is concerned?
Well, that's what we are finalizing with the protocol team and the leadership of KwaZulu-Natal, because we need to make sure that when the regiments are parading on the streets to usher His Excellency, the members of the IFP must also follow suit. So we are finalizing all those logistics, and it is going to happen.
Okay, thank you very much, Lungisi Mabaso, who's the IFP Youth Brigade National Secretary, just highlighting, of course, the events that are going to be taking place here. We're expecting hundreds, if not thousands, of locals as well as IFP supporters to line up the streets as the procession files past to the Wapindangene residents here. And as we've heard earlier on, Ibamba Kosi highlighting that this is all going to happen in the afternoon, around about 2 o'clock. A delegation of the family is going to be leaving here and heading to the mortuary. They'll be accompanied by Amabutho, who are stationed at the mortuary, who are going to also foresee that process when he leaves at the mortuary. And then we're also expecting Amabutho just outside here of the gate, who are also going to be lining up here to welcome the body of Umntwana kaPhindangene as it arrives. And of course, there will be then those traditional and cultural rites that will have to be observed by the family, and the family really pleading to be given time and some space to be able to do that.